Confidence is not a fluke, confidence is a choice, and it begins with our mindset. In this podcast, you will find a variety of research proven strategies that will lead you from being self critical, your worst enemy, to being the most confident version of yourself. I am Olga, former therapist, confidence life coach, blissfully an IVF mother, a wife, and this is the Journey to Happy podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Journey to Happy podcast. I'm Olga, your host, and as always, I am sincerely so thankful that you're here and that you're listening. Our numbers are increasing, and I am so excited. Last time I checked, I had close to 53,000 listeners. So I want to say hi to all 53,000 of you, wherever it is that you are in the world. Just know that knowing that you're listening makes me smile, makes me want to come back to this podcast time after time to give you episodes that help you with mindset, with self-love, with self-growth. So thank you for listening. And since I'm in gratitude mode, I want to share with you some exciting news. I'm sitting here, the time of I'm recording this is mid-November, and I'm celebrating that my coaching business is turning 6 years old. Oh my God, 6 years. And if you know anything about me, any kind of milestone brings me into deep reflection. I like reflecting. I like thinking what has worked, what hasn't. Where was I 6 years ago? Where am I now? What is different? What has changed? How has it changed? What's better? What's not so much better? And so I'm coming here to share with you some of my thoughts about having decided and having invested all of my time, all of my energy, all of my money, all of me into a project without any guarantees that it was going to work. Kind of like my fertility journey. How much time, money, and energy I spent on treatments. And you have to pay up front, and you have zero guarantees that in the end, you will have a baby. That's what starting a business is like. You have an idea. You've got all of these dreams and excitement for what you want it to be, but really you might even have a business plan. It might have been reviewed by others, but nobody can tell you unless it's a franchise. And even then, nobody can really 100% say you will succeed. And yet I decided to do it. So I want to walk you through what was going on in my mindset at the time and what has helped me stay in business for as long as I have, because I think that regardless of you being a business owner, you may have encountered already, or you might encounter in the near future, scenarios in your life where you know you want to do something, your heart is yelling at you, hey, do that. And then your logical mind might be saying, it's too risky. What if you fail? And that fear might in turn make you freeze and either procrastinate on taking action or freak you out enough that you end up taking no action and maybe potentially even living in regret, which is not fun at all. And actually, since I'm talking about regrets, I don't live with much regrets because I take pride in being so intentional and so present and recognizing fear and then doing mental work, coaching myself out of it. But I recently, like last week, experienced a moment that I'm not proud of where fear took over. And therefore, I've had regret. Oh, and it's heavy. And I don't like living this way because the regret I have, the feeling that I have of regret comes from having let fear take over when I know better. But I'm having a lot of compassion for myself, and I'm understanding that the me who made that decision a week ago was really convinced that she was doing the responsible thing by staying risk-free. The me a week later, when she cannot change her mind, is thinking, it trapped you. Fear got you. And it bothers me because it is the one thing I coach with so much pride women on. And I know how to recognize it, but it goes to show that even when you're involved in mindset work on a regular basis, you can still get tricked and blinded by your own thoughts of fear. And I didn't have a coaching session with my coach over the last 2 weeks. We kind of bounced these ideas with somebody else. I did bounce them with my husband, who was neutral. He didn't have an opinion. He really just thought whatever I decided was best. And so I didn't see my blind spot. I've been looking forward to being coached by a specific coach that just blows my mind, the kind of work and service that she's putting out into the world. And not only is she doing that in such a beautiful and empowering way, she's helping many other life coaches get to that point. She inspires me. I've known for a long time I wanted to work with her. I listened to her podcast and I applied for her mastermind, which it's like a group for those of you who don't know what a mastermind is. It's very commonly used in business coaching, where you just, as a coach, you coach many other CEOs, and it's called a mastermind. Everybody kind of shares ideas. And so it's very strategic, it's very empowering. And then you also get to meet many other people who are in business who you can share ideas with. I applied. I was so excited. Just applying made me so nervous. You have to submit a video. You have to fill out an application. You have to show your numbers. You have to essentially prove to her that you're meeting her requirements to be in this program. And 2 days later, I get an email of acceptance. It's like similar to when you get accepted into the program, if you went to university that you wanted, or when you get a letter of acceptance to the job that you really wanted to have, that you interviewed for. That's essentially what I felt. And I was over the moon excited. I got accepted. One of her conditions is full commitment. So she doesn't tell you the times or dates the coaching is going to take place. She doesn't tell you the dates of when you're going to go on a retreat, which for me would be outside of Canada. So I'll have to plan a flight and all of that. And she wants you to pay in full for the full coaching, which is 6 months of coaching, $25,000, which I knew. None of this was a surprise. I knew all of it. Once I got that email of acceptance, I went from happy over the moon to freaking out. Oh my God, can I spend that much money on coaching? What if? And I let the list of what ifs stress me out. Now, important for you to know for your own reference that business coaching is expensive. In fact, coaching is expensive. That number is crazy. It's high, but I've paid that before for other coaches, and I've been able to manage the risk, and I've seen the growth, and it's been beneficial. I have gotten my results back. This person that I've been so desperately wanting to work with offers me an opportunity to be in her energy, to be coached by her and the other amazing women she coaches. And I let fear take over, and I declined. Let's hold a moment of silence here for me, for the me who let fear take over. The way it works is that once she has only 2 days in which you can submit your application, then it closes. I won't have a chance to be coached by her for another minimum 6 months if I get in. The very next day, I woke up and said to my husband, oh, I regret it. But how helpful is a regret when it's past the due date? Not helpful. So that does mindset work to become curious to understand what was the fear. And ultimately, my fear in that moment was of failing. And I let the fear of failing take over my desire to be coached by one of the greatest. And so that was a $25,000 lesson. And so if I want to grow, if I want to push the limits of what I am capable of, I would also need to coach myself out of this illusion that I need to have a guaranteed success lined up at the end, that outcome already given to me prior to deciding. That is BS, that I need to go back to the times in which I've been able to do it. So why was it different this time? I don't have all the answers yet. I'm reflecting on that. This is fresh. All I know is that it brought me back to regret. Not the feeling I love having, not one that I have often or ever. And this is why. It feels heavy. I'm not proud. Regret is I'm not proud because I let fear take over. So that was a little storytelling with Olga because I really wanted to tell you about how I didn't do that 6.5 years ago. 6.5 years ago, so that you have a snapshot of what was my life like. I had met my husband. We had moved in together. We were dating. And I was in the position that I had worked for so hard to have within the organization that I worked for. So it was a higher paying job. I was managing people. I was not a frontline social worker. I was also in charge of making things, this organization be more culturally friendly. So it was all the things that I love, working with different community partners to ensure that our policies were inclusive. My God, it sounded like a dream. Fast forward 1 year sitting in that position, I realized that although that was like my carrot, the goal that I wanted to achieve, I didn't really fully understand the position before I did it. And once I did it, I realized it was a lot of babysitting the people that I was managing, and a lot of not being able to be spontaneous and have my own ideas because I had a law enforcer, like the ministry, tell me how to do my job. So it was not fun. It was not creative. It was not whatever I thought or research thought was best. It was very much somebody who wrote policies that do this. And it said that it would be good to have somebody doing your job. So do it and do it this way. What was a gift is that while I was sitting in a job that I worked hard for, having or obtaining and not being happy, is that really forced me to look into what to do next. And I told you in a previous episode how I jumped on a call with a life coach for half an hour, and I had this vision of what I would be doing, how I would be helping. And that was the beginning of Olga's Way. That was 6.5 years ago. So I said to my husband, let's start this in a safe way. So I decided that I was going to open up some evenings to see clients, and one evening a week. And this was end of November. And I thought to myself, nobody is going to need to talk to somebody for coaching or therapy. Remember, I started off as a therapist, and I thought nobody would want to do therapy this end of year. Why would they want to spend money on that? Likely, I'm not going to succeed at having clients and test this out. Well, there was my first lesson in business. Turns out fall and winter were always going to be my busiest of season. Turns out that people don't feel happy and all that good during the dark, cold months. And they really wanted somebody to talk to. So one evening became 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then I couldn't sustain this. I couldn't have a full-time job and then come out of my full-time job to work again a few more hours. So by March, this is November, December, by March of the following year, against all of my mind's advice, I decided to say, I've got enough evidence to say I could succeed. I also have enough evidence to say I could fail, but I do not want to know. I do not want to know what life would be like if I didn't try to succeed. If I just never went for it, if I never became my own boss, if I never left my job for the dream. Obviously, telling you the story is never the same as living it. I had many sleepless nights. I had moments where I would just wake up in the middle of the night thinking like, what am I doing? This is risky. Everything I have ever learned from my parents would tell me that letting go of a sustainable income that would come every day, regardless of how much work you did, was not safe. But I did it anyways. I quit. My manager laughed when I told her what I was doing. She's like, oh, you're going back to school doing a PhD? No, actually, I'm going to teach people how to meditate, how to be mindful, how to calm down, how to follow their purpose, how to be confident. And she laughed. No, really, what are you going to do? And I repeated the same sentence. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And if that fails, I'll be back here. You will need another social worker. I'll come back. Or I had even told myself, you can work at Starbucks. They are always looking for people. It didn't really escape me entirely, the fact that she laughed. I thought, is there a part of me that is being completely naive? Am I not seeing this risk how I should? It's such a big risk. And why not? And then I realized I was doing the courageous thing that most people can only dream of, but they never put it to motion. And so, of course, it would be like, when somebody tells you to do something that you're afraid of and you just laugh because you're nervous. I think that's probably what happened. Sorry, guys, I'm drinking water because my throat is so dry. Thank you, fall. Yeah. So I think that I triggered a part of her that thought that would be nice, but no, thank you. I decided that although I could fail, there was still enough chances that I could succeed, and that in my lifetime, it would be worth it for me to explore if I could indeed succeed at being my own boss. And if I would learn that I didn't, then that was a close tab in my brain. Okay, no, you tried to be your own boss and it wasn't for you. Remember, you'd rather be employed. I knew that could be a possibility. I really, really did enjoy having coworkers and going into work and having Christmas parties. I was just telling my husband that the other day. I'm like, oh, it's so sad that we'd never get invited to work Christmas parties because neither one of us work for an organization. And our own organizations don't have really enough staff to do a Christmas party. So I really did enjoy being employed. I loved my jobs, all of them. I gave them my 100% always. However, I really had this desire to do my own thing, to help people in the way that I thought was creative and fun and light and easy, and that it made sense for me and that I could modify based on my own experience. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So, although I had zero guarantees, I decided to do something, which was to fuel my courage. How can I have the courage to do the thing that I'm afraid of? How can I have the courage to take action towards something that could be good for me, even though I don't have guarantees? So how can I have the courage to do that? How can I have the courage to sit in uncertainty? My clients and I have begun to call that those periods of uncertainty sitting in the mud. How can I build my courage up so that I can see this project through? To either close it up, put in my archives as something I tried that didn't work, or to celebrate 6 years today. I have a big smile because I'm so freaking proud. I actually wrote about this. I have helped hundreds of women. There is about 53,000 of you listening here in the podcast. My podcast keeps growing. And I do zero marketing for my podcast. My coaching programs are always, whenever there is a launch, there is people interested. Clients are coming. Clients' lives are being transformed. I run into a previous client 2 days ago, and she gave me a hug, introduced me to whoever she was, and said, this woman changed my life. I was like looking back, who? You? I changed your life? She says, my marriage is in a better place. I've lost 31 pounds. I walk. I'm strong. I have clear boundaries. My only regret is that I didn't meet you sooner. Might have been a nice thing to say for her, but I was shocked that she introduced me to somebody as a woman who changed her life. What a privilege. What an honor. I still feel like, no, it wasn't me. I still want to say, no, I don't want to take that credit. In reality, it's her work. Maybe I inspired her. Maybe I gave her the tools, but she did the work. That was all her. She's in her 50s, maybe 60s. And she said she's healthier, more active, and stronger than she was in her 40s. All because she did mindset, you guys. I don't teach anybody how to exercise or lose weight or improve their marriage. I do mindset work, and mindset can change everything. Mindset is what marks the difference between somebody who says, this is terrifying. What if I fail? And somebody who says, this is terrifying. Challenge accepted. What if I succeed? What if I just bring all of my mind to thinking that I could, in fact, succeed? What if I was to give myself my best chances for success? If I believe in me? What if I work actively in being courageous instead of fearful? Which is, by the way, what most of us work actively on. Is how can I be more afraid of something? So what have I learned over the last 6 years? I could probably write a book about this. So I'm not going to write a novel in this podcast, read you a novel, but I will say I've learned that everybody can build courage. I learned that fear will never really leave my life, but that I can do the things with fear and all. And when I do that, I gain a new sense of self-respect and self-pride that I wouldn't have had I not done the things afraid, with fear and all. I have also learned that consistency is the mother of success, that there is nothing that you can do consistently that will not yield results. If you drink water consistently, you have oily, like hydrated skin. If you move consistently, you have a strong heart. If you tell the people you love that you love them consistently, they will never doubt a moment if you love them. If you get up early consistently, you will never be late. And the list goes on. Whatever you do consistently, you will see results. I also learned that less is more. I wanted to help everyone in every possible way for the last, I would honestly say, 5 years. This last year has been a great year of lessons for me. I had this shiny object syndrome where I will start one project, I'll be halfway through it, and then I'll see something else bright here, and I will do that, and I will get so occupied doing more and more, hoping to get more and more. And in the end, I would just exhaust myself and just get the same amount that I would have had I only focused on one thing. So less is more has been a great lesson for me over the last 6 years. I also have learned that connection is probably my superpower and that everybody has it. Connection to me. The more I connect to myself, the more I get to know who I am, the greater I can expose my gifts, my authenticity, the better I can connect, and I mean real connection to others. Having connected to myself, to do self-work, to do my mindset has allowed me to connect to my values, to what it is that I want to coach on. I started by helping everyone. Okay, the first 2-3 years, I would see children, adults, couples, anybody and everyone, because I wanted to thrive. And I didn't really know where I wanted to specialize. Now I'm very specific. I don't help everyone. People come to me, even old clients. I'm like, I no longer do therapy. If you need a therapist, I'll refer you out. If you are looking for mindset coaching, if you're looking at showing up the best version of yourself, even though you don't know who that is, if you're looking at understanding yourself better so that you can use that awareness and that knowledge to power yourself through, then I want to coach you. And I have been very selective of who I coach because I can. Because that is what I've built, and very strong connection to myself so that I can connect to others better. And I know for a fact that I can help women land in their born confidence, land in this place where they can be who they were meant to be, where they can quiet down their mental drama, their mean inner voice that wants to please others, forgetting about who they are. I can help women become authentic and enjoy their life in such a greater way by not changing their life, just changing how they see it, their thoughts, which sounds easier than it is. Sometimes changing life, it's easier than our thoughts because they're stubborn, but we can't. So those have been among the lessons I've had. And lastly, I've learned that celebrating all of the wins, even if they're tiny, is tapping into that gratitude that in turn taps into abundance. And abundance, my friends, is jumping into the flow of energy, is believing that the universe has in fact your back and that it is abundant. It is full of goodness. It is full of all things that I'll ever need and more. So each time I celebrate a milestone, like today I'm celebrating, I'm going out with my husband, we're celebrating big because making it to 6 years in business is not a story that everybody can say they did. So everything in your life is a big deal if you make it, whether that's good or bad. Everything can be a big deal if you make it. What are you making a big deal today? Are things that are powering you up or things that discourage you? So friends, I want to leave it with daring to do it with fear and all is the most enriching way of going about life that you can possibly imagine. If you are paralyzed by fear, and by the way, where does fear come from? Your thoughts, your mindset. If you think you could use them, blind spot checkers, if you think that you can change the way you look at your life, your circumstances, that you can use some help doing so, reach out to me. I'm opening new spaces in my Align private coaching program. I also still have one spot available for becoming the CEO of your own life group coaching program. And I just want you to do it, to dare to be you, to be authentic, to stand out to fear and say, not anymore, not today. Today, I get to make an empowered decision, which is I would think differently. I want to be that girl who looks back and says, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I always want my future self to look back and say, I'm so proud of you. And that I'm doing today. I am so proud of the Olga who was terrified to leaving her job and security and secure income to start something without any guarantees. Because by doing that, I have helped hundreds of women. I have spoken at several events, national and international. I have collaborated with local hospitals, helping parents, people I never thought I would help. I have created more content, newsletters than I would have had I stayed at my job. And most importantly, I have worked myself up to being a version of myself I can hardly criticize. So I am so freaking proud of her. I mean that, and it feels amazing to say that and to feel it. I want that for you. And you know what? It is possible. And if you don't believe it, begin there. Begin by believing. Connect with your future self and let her show you what all powerful you looks like, what life looks like when you decide to do the thing that scares you. And you do it anyway. All right. I'm going to cry now all by myself. I love you all. I'll see you guys next Monday.
Confidence is about taking empowered action with consistency. If you are done wishing you had more confidence with fill out the blank, and if you're ready to put an end to the bully that lives inside your mind, I want to invite you to my next Detox the Mind 5-day workshop, where you will learn proven strategies to go from self-critical to self-confident. For $97, you get 5 days of live coaching calls with me, workbooks to go along with your lessons, and teachings that will literally transform your life. This workshop will break you free from the prison of your own thoughts. Our next workshop begins April 11th, and you can join the waiting list today. Head over to the show notes or my website and make sure you add your name so you can be notified as soon as we open for registrations. I hope to see you inside.